welcome back to Block TV, where it is time for Crypto Craze. And what a crazy weekend it was. No, we are not talking about the dip in the price of Bitcoin at the time of recording this. We're talking about the Block, the outlet, the news outlet, the Block, and of course, Binance's chief strongman, one can argue, CZ. Over the weekend, a bit of information about a supposed raid in CZ's or Binance's office in China was reported at the end of last week, and after that, all hell broke loose on Twitter. To report and tell us where we stand at this point in time in that what we call the Block and Binance's saga, I'm joined in studio by Oran Spitzer, Block TV's reporter. Oran, great to have you. You have been following this since the news broke. Let's start with where we stand today.
Right. So this tweet thread I'm about to show is 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time around. So this is like the latest. This is CZ's stamp of this is my last word.
And we're recording this on a Sunday at the beginning of this week.
This is I'm going to have the last word, and this is what I'm going to say. So in the first part of this thread, he wrote, and I'm quoting here, regarding the recent events, Binance's ethos is to protect users. We often have to make tough decisions, and we go back to this ethos. We all also promote freedom, including freedom of speech and press. He then goes on to say a few misconceptions about freedom. Freedom of speech means you can express your opinions all you want. It does not mean you can spread fake news or lies, especially when lies you spread cause panic, price to drop, and hurt others. Freedom does not mean you can hurt others. The third part of this, with regard to the Block article, all they had to do was to apologize to everyone affected. But instead of apologizing to the community, they insist there was nothing wrong with using a fake title like a police raid that hurts users. Then he ends off with his little, we're done with this. We promote factual-based journalism. We promote freedom of press. Hopefully, this will be the end of this topic for me. Moving on to Biddle. Lots of things in the works.
Wow. Before you continue, because this is a great recap of what exactly happened, just to once again alert the viewers, the Block comes out with a piece of information and news about a supposed raid in a Binance
office space in Shanghai.
In Shanghai.
Well, Binance offices, that is what they called it. They said the Binance offices in Shanghai.
A space where people sit in and work for one entity.
Correct.
Okay? Let's start with that. The Block, needless to say, a news outlet in the sphere.
Right.
And CZ, one of the things that I find fascinating about this tweet, freedom of the press, one can argue also means accepting criticism.
Right.
But it is almost as if he has said his last piece. But this was not just the first thing he said, right?
No, it was not. But also, his little nod at the end there was, there's an update. There's now a Binance update. So he's really full on trying to change the narrative about what's being spoken about in regard. And by the way, the Block then did report on the update in kind and in straightforwardness. So, I mean, if you're trying to say there was, well, it's just a Binance update. It's standard. He uploaded that funds are safe just to kind of update everybody. But then going back to this, the Block quickly was like, okay, this is a mess and we need to set the record straight, which is when they posted the following that you're looking at here. Okay. This in, setting the record straight by them. They uploaded, they shared their sources, pictures of the offices just to kind of
exactly. We're looking, this is as the Block claim, they have a source.
Right.
According to them, they have a source.
Correct. And these are photos of that Shanghai office that they were referring to. This is only one location. The claim is that there's two. And let's also break down this article.
Let's break down that also CZ has been claiming for the past, I think, 2 years at least.
They're done, right.
That there is no office space in Binance in China.
Right.
Okay.
He's claiming since 2017. These are pictures from that office. This vendor, this source that they're calling, claims that these are the offices, this one location. But just kind of a breakdown of the key takeaways from this setting everybody straight article. So this first one here, they write, and this is quoting from the Block, there are 2 addresses at which Binance employees worked in the city of Shanghai, which recently shut. Okay, so they're confirming, they're not disputing that. They're just saying it's recently. The second one, up until October of this year, some number of Binance employees worked out of an office at the crossing between Huangpi South Road and Jianguo East Road in Shanghai. Again, saying that this is an eyewitness source. Next, the building called Zhonghai Huanyu housed Binance employees working on the 26th floor. Again, eyewitness source. Another, Binance also had a second floor in Shanghai. They even have provided a full address. So if anybody is there and can check it out, this is, again, eyewitness. And then this last key point here, another source noted that the executive team, Binance Chain, members of their derivatives development team, and a number of other teams worked in Shanghai, again, directly from a source.
Several sources, not only that, they claim
Right.
several sources, which one, from the venue of journalism, several sources is always better than one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But then also, because it seems like the dispute at this point is simply about the headline. That initial headline was police raid, which it seems like that's what everybody is kind of clinging to, and I understand it's a
But
big,
CZ also quoted at the beginning of all of it, no office, right?
right. So
Okay, let's go back to that.
Getting into the Twitter feud that really made them do this. So basically the block confirmed all of this, right? Material obtained, and the response that was kind of cumulative to CZ calling this out as FUD, kind of stating that this is fake news, going with that narrative. And this tweet here, he even shared the block report and wrote, "No police, no raid, no office. Hope you didn't pay to read that FUD block." Now, another thing, this was under a paywall. So if you wanted to
As it
read
should
this
have been.
report, well, then the dispute is if it's newsy, why would you want to pay for it, right? That's what Twitter
The
is
dispute
kind
would
of
be
saying.
that, to Twitter, just as a veteran 25-year journalist, journalists don't work for free. And yes, even a news organization needs to support itself to come out with bits of information sourced to get information out to the public. But that's one point of view. Yes, continue.
Right, so CZ was like, how dare you, we're into decentralization, we don't want to pay for things. You know what I mean? He's trying to knock this down.
That's great. He should pay everybody's supper.
Mike Dudas,
Yes.
founder and CEO of The Block, commented, naturally, he stands by his
Of
stories.
course.
Quoted here in the tweet, "Nope, accurate reporting based on deep sourcing." Okay, so that was a whole thing. His Twitter account was even blocked for like a short
By
little
Binance.
while, or they
What?
right either Binance blocked them, or people there was a movement of people blocking him on Twitter, I guess, in response to this, because that's what CZ that was his call
Wow.
to action. It was stop this FUD block. So he was calling to action. Everybody needs to block Mike Dudas for this tweet. However,
That's slightly terrifying. Okay.
yes, there's been a
Yes.
cult following, but this is kind of where it gets iffy on the part of the block. So on Twitter, right, Mike Dudas is really standing by
that
what
reporting,
they said.
right.
However, somebody who works at the block, Larry Cermak, wrote on Twitter, and we have this up here, he quote, "Whether police was involved is now in question, and our journalists are speaking to sources who are giving contradicting statements. It's possible it was a precautionary move that was triggered by the increased regulatory pressure. The journo team is working hard to update." So that was kind of a live update.
No, but first of all,
version.
apropos transparency, a live update, whether it was a raid or a visit from the police, one can argue kudos to them for trying to clarify that and alerting, people that it is under investigation, but still standing by the reporting headline, yes or no. I think that unless Binance comes out with pictures that claim that those office spaces that we saw were not theirs. I mean, is there an office or isn't there an office?
Right. Well, now they're claiming it's shut, and even the block,
But when did it shut down?
So that's the iffy. He's saying 2017. The block is saying months at most. So there are conflicting reports on that account. But then to top it all off, and this is really a page out of Justin Sun. I hate to say it, but out of Justin Sun's playbook here, because this last exchange we have here from Twitter is that they want to start, Justin Sun and CZ, a FUD fighting fund. That is a mouthful, but there was an entire exchange with Mike Dudas, as now we have it here, which Mike Dudas has actually pinned to his page.
Okay, let me do Justin Sun.
Go
I
for it.
personally would like to donate 100 Bitcoin to FUD Fighting Fund. Okay.
That's a nice raise, I guess. Have to call. We'll put in 100 Bitcoin as well. Expensive tweet, but let's make sure the FUDders pay too.
The FUDders must pay, says Justin Sun with a smiley and sunglasses.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It's a page out of the playbook.
I hope he's feeling okay. But yes, we're being slightly sarcastic. At the end of the day, maybe the way to confront reportage or being reported on is to prove your case and not finance people's silence.
Absolutely. And then there's this whole, he's pretty much starting to say, he's very CSW and Justin's son mesh at this point. And it's something I think that wasn't expected from CZ. People really trusted him. He was very communicative. Every time something went wrong within Binance, they trusted whatever it is that he had to say. And I think that this is it. It's over now. No, everything will be taken now with a grain of salt, at least by those who think a bit more critically, and obviously not those who went to block Mike Dunas after he called them to action.
Or in other words, maybe everything in life should be taken with a grain of salt because nobody is above the law or, but again, we will be looking at the story and following the reporting of the block, doing our own, obviously. Needless to say, this was the thing that completely shook up the industry over the course of the last 3 days. We were Crypto Craze and of course BLOCKTV, and we'll be right back.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.